and bring them here to hear from you, what you found, and prior to disseminating in your conference papers or your journals. So the aim of the hub generally, as you had in my invitation email, that was coined by Associate Professor Damien Cox, who is Associate Dean of Research in the FSD. He said the aim of the hub is to help foster a strong community for all HGR students in the faculty. And that's a community in which you have many opportunities to support each other through your HGR journey, and a community that ensures your experience as a research student is socially and intellectually rich. I just want to pick up on the aspect where you have the opportunity to support each other. We're glad to have some of you here that have almost completed. Isara is completed, and keep on focusing on them. Larry has finished, so they have been through the turmoils, they've weathered the storm and they've come to that finishing line. They are a huge resource, to learn from when you're struggling. And when your supervisor is not even there to help you, you're all alone, it could be quite frustrating, quite daunting. And these guys are the ones that they're the full soldiers that have been on the battlefront. Some of us that are generals in the office, planning wars that they don't know what is out there in the battlefront. So these are the real raw guys, raw deal, that know what the issues are. They've won the issues, they know where it pinches, they can give you more effective advice, to sort your problems. So it's good that they're also here. And there will be a time when we schedule them to share, their experiences in the journey to inspire some of you that might be struggling along the way. So this FSD Research Hub has 3 clusters to it. So this is the built environment event today, and we have those of humanities, communication, and creative arts, and that is led by Caroline Graham. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it today. And also the psychology and criminology. You could see some of you from psychology are here, and that's by Gail Brotto. And I facilitate the PE hub. We're supposed to have champions, student champions, in each hub. And Leanne here, Cabral, is the assistant facilitator for the PE, and that's why she has to take the bullets to get it going, And I think Caroline and Gail will be in touch with you guys and say who's going to put up his or her hand, to be the assistant student facilitator for each of these hubs and get events going. So without much ado, we have Leanne starting, because when the rubber meets the road, we no longer planned, without executing. So that's why it was hurriedly, because if we have allowed this, if we didn't start this event, when we get into teaching, some of you have been student assistants in teaching, is really terrible. So they will run with it, when we're not there, to organize events. So her presentation today, well, I will allow her to introduce, her presentation. And when she is through, you guys will have the opportunity to ask questions. And yeah, about one other thing I just want to point out to you is we might want someone to signal interest to present next, whether it is whether your PhD journey or HDR or an MPhil journey is at the proposal stage or at the confirmation stage or whatever stage you are. Maybe you've finished, you can share with us the experience you've had so far, and possibly gain insights on some of the problems you're struggling with. So I'll hand over now to Leanne. And Leanne, thank you very much. And you know the time. This is this prep forum is very generous. When you do your confirmation, you have a limit of 15 minutes. 15 or 20? Is anybody? 20 minutes, okay. But now have your time, and especially you are the first. So take from any time, any range from 30 minutes to 1 hour, and they are here with you. Nobody's from outside, so they're not really too conscious of time, but you might just want to end it 30 minutes or 40 minutes. Yeah. Okay. All right then. So, you're fine. And sorry for housekeeping. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this environment. So toilets are far away. And when do we start sharing the food? Anna, you can grab food now if you want, or after, it's just up to you.
I promise I won't take too long. So.
Yeah. So just feel free to just grab something. If you want coffee,
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming today for this presentation. I will be introducing my topic on the research, which is productivity-driven cloud-based document management in the construction industry, looking at the benefits, current practice gaps, and improvement measures. My supervisors are Jasper and Matthew, who is not here today, but yes. The agenda for today would be to run through these topics very briefly. I'll start with the need for the study and the research problems, and I'll end with the research progress plan and the conclusion. So the research problem is split into 3. So the research problem number 1 is the existing DM issues in the industry. So currently, the literature out there states that there is an insufficient documentation and improper document practices managed by the construction firm, which brings us to the need for doing this research. Like, there are critical issues in the industry that need to be addressed. One of them being disputed contractor claims, cost overruns due to poor tracking of expenditure records against budget. There's poor tracking of approved variation orders. There's time overruns and high cost of defective works. The research also motivates us to look into insufficient research knowledge gaps that do exist in the industry. At the moment, there's very little research on the current practice gaps and improvement measures, and there's available research on document management systems, but very little research relevant to the Australian construction industry, and more research available to the offshore context. So we need to try to look into why we have that issue. Also, a lot of previous studies that were outdated are now outdated, and new and emerging issues to the topic need to be further explored. And there'll obviously be others that will be identified during the field work. And then the research problem number 3 is the study tells us that we need to narrow these existing knowledge gaps that do exist, which are relevant to insufficient research on the perceived benefits, current practice gaps, and the ways to improve document management, especially relating to cloud-based document management systems. We also need to take into consideration the socio, cultural, economic, contractual, and regulatory environment in where Australia operates. We also need to look into prioritizing and highlighting 20% of the findings that lead to 80% of the issues. And then there's others that will be identified during the field work. Now, the aim of the research is to explore the perceived benefits, current practice, best practice gaps, and improvement measures relating to cloud-based document management in the construction industry. Now, in order to explore that research aim, we have developed a few research questions. The first one being, what are the key benefits of efficient document management in the construction industry? The second being, what are the existing gaps between the current DM practices and best practice procedures? How can we improve the DM practices? And what are the current platforms used by construction firms for project document management? So these are the research objectives that will answer the research questions. So you have the first research objective being to explore the key benefits of efficient document management. to compare current industry practices against the best practice procedures for document management, and to identify and validate improvement measures, and lastly, to investigate current platforms for project document management. Now, I've conducted a few literature reviews based on the research objectives, and the first one being the current and emerging industry document management practices. So here we can see that this can be like subgrouped into 4 groups. So you have document control phases, where you have, it's very important to look into document storage, document classification, document revisions, and document transmittals. Then you have evolving digitalization and automation. This is very important today because you need to improve agility and responsiveness to document management practices, productivity, enhance safety, improve sustainability, and improve the bottom line. Then you have best practices record management benefits, which basically look at quickly accessing records at any time in the project and accessing them in real time, which is also important because you have a lot of construction people on site and in the office, so it makes it very hard to share documents and get the latest versions of revisions. And also, most importantly, adopting the ISO 9000:2016, which is the quality management standards. And then you've got the re-engineering processes for cloud-based BIM in construction, where we can look at real-time progress management, greater stakeholder collaboration, more effective data-driven decision-making, and on-time project completion. The literature is then further divided into looking at the key benefits of document management in construction. So here you have web-based document management and communication tools, which helps to improve the transparency of work. It helps to reduce document duplication and also have simpler collaboration between various project teams. Then you've got the electronic document management benefits, which help to save time, efficiently locate, distribute, and modify these documents, as well as save on labor. Then you've got wider EDMS benefits identified in the literature, which says that it improves productivity, it improves the existing cash flow, it improves information sharing, it definitely cuts cost and reduces errors. And then you've got specific electronic document managements for SMEs, which help to improve the overall worker performance, enhance communication and efficiency and productivity. So there are a lot of key benefits of document management identified in the literature review. So these are some more benefits continued. So we've got impact on workflows, you have efficient workflows, improved efficiency, and most importantly, audit trail. An extra 5 there, but yeah. Impact on transparency, you have faster task completion, you have greater transparency, you have increased product quality, and easily amending of records whenever you need to. You have impact on record management, which helps to, of course, eliminate duplication of data. You have share data across different platforms using different tools. Then you've got retention of a knowledge base. You have enhanced transparency and decrease in information loss. And finally, there's an impact on decision-making and risk management, which helps to better manage decision-making within teams, reduce operation costs, and minimize litigation risks. So now we'll look at some literature out there states that the current platforms for project document management adopted in the construction industry today is basically divided in this model. So you've got like the document management systems in the industry, which follow the traditional paper-based systems, which is clearly outdated, and construction industries, however, today are still using them, but they need to move away from the traditional paper-based systems and move more to the electronic document management systems, which is the digitalized version. So under electronic document management systems, we've got the intranet environment and the cloud-based environment. And then the cloud-based environment is further classified into the public cloud and the private cloud. And private cloud is further subdivided into in-house IT managed PaaS, IaaS, which is platform as a service and infrastructure as a service. And then you've got ISP managed, which is electronic records management systems. Now, as we can see through this model, that large firms tend to prefer a mix of traditional based systems to the internet environment to in-house IT manage. The reason being they have larger firms, they have larger IT departments to manage a lot of things. However, smaller medium enterprises tend to look at more traditional systems and the public cloud, which is SaaS. Our research focus is basically on this blue bubble, which is the cloud-based systems. Okay, so we've identified a theoretical framework which kind of looks at document management at the project level. It's very important at a project level because you have information, document information for the overall management of the project. And under those, you've got notices, you have in-house staff, subcontractors. These are just examples. Then you have document management for contractual compliance, which is also really important. There you've got financial reports, meeting minutes, and standard form of contract as examples. And then you've got document management for statutory compliance, which looks at EMP, work health, safety, and building code compliance. So the research method used in this study would be the descriptive survey research method in order to address the research questions in the form of feedback from questionnaire surveys. Stages of empirical data gathering. There's 7 stages identified here, which is first we'll conduct the literature review, then we'll do the ethics approval, then we'll have the qualitative data gathering, the quantitative data gathering, results validation, results analysis, and then comparing them with existing models. This detailed research process flowchart has about 14 elements to it. We start with identifying the research problem and setting the research questions, all the way through qualitative data gathering, where we conduct the pilot interviews with convenient samples. And then we analyze the data using appropriate tools and techniques. And then we test the model for validity and making sure we have the right data obtained from the survey. Then we conclude the research, we choose a model, we conclude the research, we present the thesis, and then we have the final dissemination of findings and follow-up study. So there's a number of data gathering instruments used for this purpose. We will be using interview, schedule, and open-ended questionnaires. The interview schedule will be, depending on the location of the research participants, they would be dispatched through emails or telephone interviews or web-based interviews or personal interviews. The constructs identified through this interview schedule will then be used to design the questionnaire, which will then be administered through either self-administered or hosted online or through open-ended questions on 5-point rating scale. The interview questions we will be looking at are: what are the key benefits of efficient document management in the construction industry? What are the key issues in the existing DM practices, and how could the practice be improved? What are the current platforms used by construction firms for project DM? So these are the main questions which will be rated using a 5-point Likert rating scale. We'll have key benefits of efficient DM, current DM practices and platforms, and ways of improving the existing DM practices. So qualitative data will be gathered through content analysis and thematic analysis, and our quantitative data will be gathered through exploratory factor analysis and structural equation modeling. So we have two models for the structural equation modeling here. This is structural equation modeling 1, research hypothesis, CBDM platforms and best practice DM as constructs that could help to maximize benefits of CBDM, and we'll be looking at these three hypotheses, which will further be explained in the next slide. So here we have the structural model 1 for data analysis, where we look at 4 main constructs. One is the cloud-based document management platforms, the best practice document management approach, maximized cloud-based document management system benefits, and improved productivity. So the indicators to measure cloud-based document platforms are the intranet environment, the in-house IT managed PaaS and IaaS. You have the ISP managed ERMS, and then you've got the public cloud. The best practice DM approach has a number of indicators which are used to measure that, which is ISO 9001:2016, which is the latest quality management standard. We can easily capture information, we can leverage automation, and we can use it for workflows and audit control. And then the research out there which states that the constructs, the indicators to measure maximize CBDMS benefits are undisputed contractor claims, undisputed payment claims, better statutory compliance, improved contractual compliance, improved stakeholder communications, basis for digital transformation, and then some other benefits which we will identify during our field work. And improved productivity uses the following constructs to measure them, which is improved client satisfaction, improved profit margins, improved schedule cost and quality performance, improved supply chain partner satisfaction, and improved business resilience and long-term success. So in this model, basically, we see the three hypotheses. So the first hypothesis states that cloud-based document management platforms leads to maximize CBDMS benefits, as well as hypothesis 2 states that best practice DM approach also leads to maximize CBDM benefits, which then in turn leads to improved productivity. So this is the first model we'll be testing based on what we receive from our research. And the second model looks at cloud-based document management platforms and best practice DM as mediating constructs in the causal relations between CBDMS and productivity of a construction firm. So in this model, it's pretty much the same constructs and same indicators. We've just rearranged this model a little bit. We are assuming maximize CBDMS benefits leads to improved productivity directly, or we have maximized CBDM benefit, or we have the two mediating constructs which then lead to improved productivity. So in reality, this model, according to literature, is a more practical model to be adopted, because cloud-based document management platforms are definitely very important in construction, as they help to improve productivity and reduce time and save on labor costs. So I think this is something we could see working out of the two models, but we still don't know yet. When we do the research, we will find out which model suits best. The research progress plan at the moment is I have conducted literature reviews and I've completed the preliminary research proposal. I am currently formulating my detailed research proposal and looking at qualitative design and ethics approval. And the rest are to be completed in due course of time. To conclude, I'd like to say that the existing document management followed by the construction industry is slightly flawed, because they still use paper-based systems and they need to move into a more cloud-based digital platform. And obviously those paper-based systems are definitely causing productivity issues and hampering project success. The solution proposed is to improving the current approach by adopting a more cloud-based system, which helps the project team to access, edit, version control, and use documents and share documents in real time. The methodologies used to achieve this solution is a mix of qualitative and quantitative data gathering techniques through interviews and open-ended questions with industry practitioners. That was the last slide. Thank you. Sorry, do you have any? Sorry, I tried to finish fast. And now I'm out of breath.
And if you have any questions for her, I know that Jasper is whenever they use a presentation, you don't ask them questions. But you feel free. This is your peer. It's not like we're examiners. It's the examiners' questions that actually work like things. So just feel free to ask the questions.
Yes.
Excellent, and thanks for a great presentation. Very informative.
Thank you so much for attending. And this was I'm still doing the research, so there are some concepts that I'm not very thorough on, but I'm still trying to investigate and also trying to learn as well. So I have a really good supervisor, so he's.
You can see investigating there.
So I'm investigating the question mark, which is the whole study. Yeah.
Excellent. It's just, to an outsider, I'm just astounded that they are still so paper-based.
Yes.
The final slide.
Yeah.
So cloud-based platforms have been around for a long time.
Yes.
And so what is the main reason? Why do you think they haven't been using something?
Well, the thing is, people within the construction industry are very old-fashioned. You've got people that have been there for time since working there for so many years, and the rigidity to change a system is always a main issue. Like, you introduce a new system, and then they are used to saving things on their laptop, saving things on their desktop, but then that resistance to change, because they feel it's a very time-consuming process, which I do agree, it is time-consuming, but it's more like there is a lot of pressure on the document controller to kind of clean up all the documents, but it doesn't actually just originate from the document controller. Everyone needs to manage their systems using the cloud-based platform, so that way when you want to try to find something, it's easier. But there's a lot of resistance to change. I think that when new systems are introduced, they are slightly complicated, slightly different, and just learning them and just spending time over those things it's like sometimes you have to do it outside your time of work to try to learn it, to try to use it efficiently. So those are little things that the industry still faces, and that's why they haven't totally moved from the paper base. It was just like they're used to something and they just kind of still do that. Yeah. Yeah, but it is changing now. Like, a lot of companies are making it mandatory to adopt these systems, even though you cannot control everything through the cloud-based platform. Of course, you'd still have paper, but there shouldn't be so much reliance on the paper that if you lose a piece of paper, it's oh my God, where is that document? We can't find it. It shouldn't be that way. Of course, you've got scanned records, wet-proof signatures that are still in the paper-based format, that are filed and stored in a cabinet and things like that. But most of the things have to be moved, especially when it comes to revisions and versioning of documents and contract documents as well.
Thank you. Because I was going to say, another question I had was considering blockchain. You think blockchain is something that would, because you mentioned before contractual disputes or something.
Yes.
Blockchain, would sort of negate anything like that happening. But considering they're so far behind on something like cloud-based, I mentioned blockchain is still a while.
Yeah.
Take care of this first.
Yes.
Yes, actually, I joined the question, and actually, what you are doing, as you rightly pointed out, is a key problem in the industry. They don't want to change.
Yeah.
And actually, your colleagues here, you get to hear about their own research too. like Patrick is looking at solar technology, something that could service electricity, great energy, government churning out incentives, say zero, what do you call it again, zero, what do you call it again?
Zero emission homes.
Yeah, no, zero, I mean, you can just take,
Upfront.
yeah,
Zero
upfront, yeah, exactly, give it to you for free, but people are still
Oh,
reluctant,
Yeah.
So I think it's not only just the industry there, but generally, people are not resistant to change.
I think nobody ever likes change.
Yes.
That just takes time. Yeah.
Exactly. And no one is also investigating something related to studying cloud-based, business model for SMEs. Why are they not leveraging it? As you pointed out, this is something that has been found to be very, very supportive, in other sectors. In other sectors, everything is just so. I guess Omona, you also explore those constraints. Why are they not coming up? I think Patrick, you're also looking at what are those constraints. I think in most research, identifying and addressing those constraints is the way to move forward. Right? Who else has questions?
Can I just ask about PowerPoint?
Yeah.
How long do you think you spent on PowerPoint?
I changed the PowerPoint 3 times, but a fair bit. Like, is it bad or is it?
No, I'm just wondering.
Okay, if it's bad, then I shouldn't say anything.
I've been doing PowerPoint
Yeah.
years ago. It's taken forever to do.
Yeah, it does.
It was very good, so I was just wondering how long it took.
Yeah, it did take a few days, I would say. Like I did a little bit every day, but yeah, I mean, I've changed it many times. I look at it and then I don't like it, and then I change it again. But it did take a while. But yeah, I just Googled and found that the GIFs work on the slides, which is pretty good. Like, so I tried to incorporate some of them just to make it interesting. Yeah.
Are Prezi a no-no? The Prezi presentation?
Oh, yeah. I've never really used them so much. I have used it once, but they're nice as well. Yeah.
Cool, yeah, I was wondering if it's a bit of a no-no for this format.
I did mine with press.
Yeah, I do mine with Prezi as well. I do all my lectures Prezi as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty easy to use.
Yeah, yeah.
They have a free and a paid version. So, but the free version, the main difference is with the paid version, you can't convert the slides into PDF.
Oh.
So, I mean, if that's important for your audience, then you need a paid version. Otherwise, the version is fine. Yeah. Very intuitive, very easy to use.
Yeah.
Can you run it on other platforms?
Run it on any computer, as long as it's got a web browser like Chrome,
Yeah.
Edge, or Firefox.
Wonderful.
Because you can download that and you just present it out.
Yeah.
Everything online.
Exactly. Yeah,
Do they have like the smart apps, everything? Is it like easier? Because I actually made this one like manually, and it just took a lot of time. And then yeah, so that would be helpful because it's very hard to sort of like just get them together, and it just takes time.
You cannot be much.
But if you've got too many transitions and movements, you can
That's
probably make
the
your
trap.
audience seasick.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
zooming in, zooming out.
Yeah.
It's very cool, but
Yeah. If you use the transition too much, it creates motion
yeah,
sickness.
yeah, yeah.
So you gotta use it sparingly.
Yeah.
It's all about the placement of all your slides because it's like Prezi treats everything as a poster,
Yeah.
and then you just transition from one part of the poster
Yeah.
to another.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you put things quite close to each other. There's not gonna be too much movement.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have to have an account to sign in, right? Or
Yes.
something. Yeah, I think I have used it before, like a
Yeah.
long time ago.
How much is the professional version?
Oh, it's how much? Like $100 a year.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
tax
something
deductible.
You
So
can claim
Yeah.
back,
yeah, you can claim back. Yeah.
That's the sector.
Yeah.
Sure. That's good.
Yeah.
Ask one question.
Yeah.
How many participants will enter?
I think we decided 100, but I'm not very sure yet because I haven't really started. Yeah.
Just a question, because I will be interviewing my participants. Mine will be a qualitative small round.
Okay.
Just 20.
20, yeah.
Yeah.
So yours is much bigger.
Yeah. Well, it might reduce depending on
Yeah.
how feasible it really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we say you start with qualitative,
Yeah.
understand practical service, the number doesn't actually matter, but when you use saturation points, you like
Exactly.
back and you see that it's repeating.
Yeah.
The next two or three people you talk to are saying things you've already covered, and you know you put the saturation points.
Yeah.
But it's good to start trying to do systems.
Because in graphics, they ask
Oh, yeah.
Patrick went through that. One or two, I think. Yeah, they went through that.
Yeah.
It was hell.
Yeah.
It was so frustrating, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah. It's why you ask that question. It's something you have to think about.
Yeah,
Make sure
yeah.
you got that figure right.
Yeah.
You agree on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will keep that in mind. Yeah.
And you ask the basis. Why you say why?
Why?
That's just the emotional answer for
Exactly.
that.
They always
Mm.
ask for reasons.
Justify it. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
AGR is still in the like questions, you know? but it's actually good. It's really especially at this stage. You know, because that is a highlight this issue of low satisfaction. Because if you don't have these answers,
Yeah.
then you suffer, especially with ethics education.
Mhm.
All right, so thank you all for coming.
Let me just
And
ask,
I
let
will.
me claim the last one question. Yeah, just to ask, in your research, since you are looking at cloud-based management, is there any way you're going to be looking at vulnerability of those cloud-based systems?
Yes, I'll try to see which one is the best one, like from the ones that are out there. But I think like all cloud-based systems are still pretty good. And since the industry doesn't really use it as much, we just want them to try to move to more of a cloud-based. I don't think I'll be looking at specific, but I haven't thought about that yet.
Because I know there would be things to do with the risks associated with
Yes.
online management of stuff and
Yeah.
hackers and stuff.
Yeah.
Cybersecurity issues.
Yes.
Cybersecurity
Yeah,
issues
I
going
did
on.
read a lot about the security issues. Yeah.
Privacy issues.
Mm. Yeah.
That was good.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I don't think so. I don't think yes. Sorry, can I pause? Can I stop?
Oh, yeah, we can stop now. Now, we also want to know who will be the next presenters.